In 2012, Oscar Pistorious was known as the Blade Runner. He made history as the first double-legged amputee Paralympian to compete in the Olympic Games. Less than a year later, Oscar fatally shot his girlfriend through a closed door. He claimed that he was frightened of an intruder, but prosecutors went on to argue that Oscar was a bitter, abusive and violent person who brutally murdered Reeva Steenkamp. Was this an act of cold-blooded murder or a tragic accident? This is the case of Oscar Pistorious and the brutal murder of Reeva Steenkamp.
Oh, I'm so glad you're covering this. I'm still in disbelief this is a real story.
I know, it is absolutely nuts, and we're going to get into it now. Now, G, do you remember when this story first broke?
I do. I actually remember. It's one of those things that I remember where I was when I heard about it. I was on holiday in Queensland.
Right.
I remember discussing it at the time and going, this can't be real. What do you mean a world famous person
Yes.
has been charged with murder?
I know.
What do you mean? And not just world famous, but for being an outstanding, incredible human.
athlete. Yeah,
But just
yeah,
human. Like,
human.
that is a story that is incredible.
Yes, yeah.
As in who he was before, the reason he's known as an Olympian, as a double amputee, as an Olympian, not a Paralympian. That is the story of an incredible, like that's a story for history.
Yeah.
Even if we never heard about him again.
Yeah, and that is the thing as well. He was an incredible athlete. And I will go into that as well, but I'm going to repeat a little bit of...
I'm going to interrupt just to say, when I'm saying incredible human, I'm not saying in personality and traits. No. I mean, that is an incredible human story that someone overcame,
what he did.
He is.
I'm going to repeat a bit of information throughout this story because there is so much, and we have to go through Oscar's account and also his neighbour's account of what happened that night. Right. Very early on Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's right.
It's also a huge case. I'm sorry if I left out some information or mispronounced a few names here, but would love to hear more from you if you have any information. Instead of starting the story with Oscar Pistorious, and I think it's important to talk about his childhood and who he was, I thought today I'd first start by talking about the victim in this case, the incredible Reeva Steenkamp. Reeva Steenkamp was born on April 19, 1983 in Cape Town, South Africa.
You haven't been to Africa?
No, I haven't. No.
I've been to Cape Town.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Beautiful place?
I stayed in an area called Camps Bay, which was really beautiful. Yeah.
She was the apple of her parents' eye. Her parents had a child from their previous marriages. Her father trained racehorses. Reeva started placing bets on horses in primary school.
Oh, my God.
And with her earnings, paid for her own schooling once she realised that her parents weren't doing too well financially.
Oh, wow. Okay. I feel like we need to say, disclaimer, don't try this at home.
Yes.
Kids gambling.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, that's probably
Especially when your parents
say.
work in the industry.
I know. Yeah, maybe don't gamble.
Okay.
Yeah, she might have had a few inside scoops there.
Allegedly.
She was popular in school and respected by everyone, known to always have a smile on her face. While other kids in the playground wanted to be astronauts or actors, Reeva wanted to be a lawyer. Eventually, she earned a scholarship to study law at the Nelson Mandela University and ended up graduating at the very top of her class. Around this time she graduated, she suffered a devastating accident. She was riding a horse when she fell off and onto her back. She was in the hospital for 6 weeks with doctors unsure if she would ever walk again.
Oh, I didn't know this about her.
Yeah, miraculously though, she made a recovery. How insane is that? Like falling on your back, that would be such a scary thing.
Oh, I can't imagine.
After she healed, she decided she would stop riding horses and she dumped her abusive boyfriend and moved to Johannesburg. She was working as a paralegal, but she decided to put her law career on hold and wanted to pursue a career in modelling. It was something that she always wanted to.
I know.
I know.
I don't want to do law anymore. I want to be a model.
Full-time model, baby.
I'd like to be a model too. Doesn't mean I can be.
It was something that she always wanted to try and thought that this was the perfect time to try. She started booking gigs right away and soon was modelling to pay her bills.
Wow.
Quite incredible as well to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to try this, and then it really pays off really quick. I mean,
maybe I should try then.
Maybe you should. If you've ever seen Reeva Steenkamp, she is stunning.
Yeah, Google her now if you haven't. If you don't know what she looks like, she's beautiful.
Beautiful, and also like I think having that horse accident, like just kind of going, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that with my life. It would be such a big shift in you to go what's
you change
important.
perspectives on what you want from life.
Yeah. Reeva was a cover girl and the face of Ava.
Oh, wow.
She had graduated law school and was on a reality TV show called Tropical Island of Treasure.
Oh, now come on.
Tropica Island of Treasure,
Don't
I think it is.
go and ruin your life by going on reality TV. Children, that's my advice to you.
Filmed in Jamaica, which aired 3 days after the fatal tragedy. Reeva wanted to branch out after this and move away from modelling into television presenting. She wanted to know how to do more TV work.
Become a journalist.
Always a great idea. Friends of hers said, while she was beautiful on the outside, she was even more beautiful on the inside. She loved helping people, and she also wanted to stand up and speak out for survivors of sexual abuse and domestic violence. In South Africa, in the 2-year period of 2011 and 2012, there were over 64,500 reported sexual assaults.
Oh, God.
That's 1 every 4 minutes. Reeva wanted to take action and tackle this head on. The morning of her murder, Reeva was actually meant to give a talk to a bunch of teen girls titled Placing Value on You. I think it's important as well to talk about the athlete that Oscar Pistorious was. In fact, he was an incredible athlete. But he won't go down as an athlete who set the world alight when he broke world records as a Paralympic athlete competing in the Olympic Games. He will go down as the man who shot and killed Reeva Steenkamp through a locked door, who, as he said, he thought was an intruder in his home. Oscar was officially charged with the premeditated murder of Reeva Steenkamp on the 15th of February 2013. His bail hearing was set for the 19th of February. Speculation ran rife. Had they fought that night? What actually happened? But before we get into that, let's talk about Oscar. Oscar Leonard Carl Pistorious was born on November 22nd, 1986 in Johannesburg, South Africa. He's so young. That's the thing as well. Like you keep forgetting that he was 25 when this happened.
God.
I'm sorry, when he met Reeva, he was very, very young. He was the middle of 3 children. His parents were Hank and Sheila Pistorious.
What great names.
Yeah. I always think of Sheila as well as an Irish name.
Oh,
yeah, an Irish name, Sheila. Yeah.
Oh, nice. But yeah, Sheila's an Irish name.
Yeah.
It's just an Aussie term for...
Of
in
course,
Australia, we call women Sheilas.
That's
and
right.
Hank is just so American.
So American. They were a very well-liked family and living a middle-class lifestyle. Oscar was known by his nickname Blade Runner. He was a track and field athlete with both legs amputated below the knee. He was born without a fibula bone in both of his lower legs. It anchors your calf muscles and forms the outside of your ankle. As a result, his lower legs were severely deformed and he only had 2 toes on each foot. He was told that he would never be able to walk.
Oh, God.
He would be confined to a wheelchair for his life. When he was only 11 months old, both of his legs were amputated. The doctor was able to salvage his heel pads and add them to Oscar's stump so he'd be able to walk on them with minimal pain.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
Isn't that incredible?
God, medicine's amazing.
Yeah, just a few weeks later. So only a few weeks later he was like walking around. As a baby. Just 6 months later he learned how to walk using fiberglass legs.
Oh, wow.
Oscar grew up in a very athletic environment. He was always riding or going on hikes. He got his first set of dumbbells when he was only 4 years old.
Oh, my God.
Dumbbells,
I don't like that.
wild as a 4-year-old.
Oh, I don't like that. That feels creepy. Like, don't tell your kid they need to pump weight.
He had to do gymnastics too to get his weekly allowance. So it was actually, by his parents, Sheila and Hank, they really wanted Oscar to be an athlete. By the age of 6, he was playing tennis, soccer, water polo, Olympic wrestling and cricket.
Wow.
It wasn't always easy. Sometimes he would need a lot of time to rest, but he always persisted.
Oh, yeah, that was actually a really naive and ignorant comment of me saying about pumping weights. It very well may have been for his upper body strength, given he didn't have the lower parts of his legs.
Yeah,
I really apologise if that sounded really ignorant.
No, I really don't know. I think he played a lot of different sports and everything. It would take a long time to recover, but he also played rugby, which if you know anything really about rugby, and I do not, but it is a very contact-heavy sport. Yeah. And I remember hearing this thing about, he'd be tackled, and if his prosthetics came off, he'd put them back on and run again.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's very tough, tough kid.
I mean, it's all he's known, I suppose.
Exactly,
his legs.
And I think also, like, his parents kind of making it into sports and everything with the idea that he was once never going to be able to walk ever in his life.
Exactly. And also, if he's a kid that loves sport. He's no different to anyone else
exactly.
who's going to play sport.
His old rugby coach, which Oscar played at the age of 15, said that Oscar never let you feel sorry for him. He was always motivated and confident in who he was. He put you at ease right away, and he never seemed like a kid with any kind of disability, and that would kind of stop him from achieving what he went on to achieve. He had no complex you could visibly see. His parents brought Oscar and his siblings up with one basic rule: never say, "I can't." But according to Oscar, the other boys at his school did not treat him like this. When he was 15, he woke up one night to see that his room was on fire and his legs were nowhere to be seen. He thought he was going to die helpless and alone, in fact, at his most vulnerable without his prosthetics.
Oh, God.
The other boys doused the flames and laughed at him for his helplessness.
Oh, God. His brothers?
No, his schoolmates.
Oh, sorry. God,
they wanted to scare him and make fun of him, telling him he was nothing. Oh, how awful is that?
That's horrendous.
Yeah, that's not like gentle ribbing. That's wild.
Disgusting.
The school had a strict military culture. The boys would constantly do things like this to scare, push, and frighten the others. As Oscar got older, he would take part in the bullying and terrorising of the younger students. At the age of 15, he signed up for the rugby team to be more accepted by his peers, and he was a fantastic player. It seemed as though any sport he wanted to play, he would just excel. The coach could not believe how fast Oscar was on the field. After one tackle, Oscar's prosthetics came flying off. He put them back on and kept playing. Now, at one point, around this age, he broke his prostheses. His doctor got rid of his older ones and replaced them with new, more advanced legs. The doctor saw Oscar as a bit of an inspiration and wanted to find him the latest advancements whenever he could. His doctor showed him Paralympic sports for the first time. Oscar had no idea Paralympic sports existed, and he watched them with just this huge smile across his face. Like he couldn't believe that was possible.
Oh, that's beautiful. I wonder if that was part of his parents kind of going, "You're no different to anyone. We don't need to kind of purposely show you. Look, this is Paralympics. This is something you like." I wonder if that was
he just watched any other sport. Yeah.
I love that.
It was kind of like the doctor said at the time. It was like a whole world opened up to him as he was watching. His doctor eventually experimented with the latest prosthetics and got Oscar running blades that would help with his sports considerably. His doctor made him custom running blades that helped. That kind of helped him, and he got the name, the Blade Runner.
Such a cool name.
I
mean, you're a runner and you have blades.
Yeah.
It writes
itself. It writes itself, but pretty
clever.
cool at the same time. Hank and Sheila divorced when Oscar was only 6 years old. Sheila died when Oscar was only 15 after drug complications after a hysterectomy.
Oh, God, that's horrible.
Yeah. Oscar had a complicated relationship with his father from the divorce, and after his mother passed, found the relationship was harder than ever. In 2003, at the age of 16, Oscar suffered a knee injury while playing rugby. He started running to rehabilitate his knee and less than a year later became a star track and field athlete.
Wow, just really naturally talented
Really
as
naturally,
well by the sound of it.
In fact, within 2 months of training, he would set a new world record in sprinting. A world record.
Wow.
He ran the 100-meter sprint in 11.27 seconds.
God.
I couldn't do that in a car, I don't reckon. Instantly qualifying himself for the Athens Paralympic Games in 2004. He needed a new set of legs and he called his doctor, who had just moved to the US. His doctor invited him to fly to the US to fit him with a new set of blades. They're called flex foot cheetah blades that would turn Oscar officially into the Blade Runner. He also had another nickname, the fastest man on no legs.
Oh, well.
But the Blade Runner stuck a little more.
Yeah.
Oscar took part in the Oklahoma Endeavour Games, winning the 200-meter sprint, and then in Athens set a new world record, winning gold in Athens. He was just 17 years old.
Oh, my God.
And hadn't finished high school just yet.
Oh.
He had sponsors following him everywhere. He would then compete against able-bodied athletes around the world. Wow. This is where he gained the attention of the International Association of Athletics Federations. Easy to say.
Very easy. You
it's
actually
very catchy, isn't it?
nailed that.
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you. It caused a bit of controversy at the time. People questioned whether his prosthetics were giving him an unfair advantage.
Oh, God, people are shit.
I know, yeah.
Okay,
and that was a big thing as well.
You tried on prosthetics, mate. Like,
well, that was a thing. Like a lot of people made him feel different and saying that he had, an unfair advantage.
Imagine calling it that makes me really angry.
In 2008, he was banned from participating in competitions against able-bodied athletes. It was stated they didn't have to expend as much energy as the other athletes.
Oh, my fucking God.
It was actually stated that his prosthetics gave him an advantage. In May 2008, the Court of Arbitration for Sport revoked this decision and he was able to compete again against able-bodied athletes. The year he competed in the Beijing Paralympics, that very year, he competed in the Beijing Paralympics and won 3 gold medals in the 100, 200 and 400 metre races.
Coming home from Paralympics with 3 gold medals.
Yeah,
wow.
Just wild, that he was able to achieve all of this. And this isn't saying anything about what happened later, but just an athlete. Yeah. In February 2009, during his wild success, he also had issues with law enforcement. So he started to have issues at this time with law enforcement.
Right.
In February 2009, Oscar suffered a head injury after a boat accident where empty bottles of alcohol were found on the boat. Police could not determine whether or not Oscar was driving at the time, and so charges were dropped. In September 2009, Oscar was arrested for slamming a door on a woman at a party. Cassidy Taylor Memory, who was a friend of his girlfriend at the time. They later settled in a civil suit in 2013 as his lawyers advised him that he couldn't be involved in a civil trial and a murder case happening at the same time.
Oh, jeez.
Oscar won gold in 2011 and participated in the 4x400 metre relay. He was the first Paralympian to win a medal in an open competition. In 2011, he was the 22nd fastest 400 metre runner in the world. It was pretty impressive.
Not Paralympic, just
in the world.
Wow.
He was the first Paralympian to compete in the 2012 Olympic Games track event. He couldn't believe it. He found himself smiling on the starting blocks. Oscar was then featured in Time, GQ, owned luxury cars, multiple homes, and owned 2 white tigers.
What?
Yeah.
White tigers?
Yep.
Is that a name of a car?
Nope, just 2 white tigers. For some reason, just owned 2 white tigers. I feel like that's the level of rich that we haven't experienced just yet.
Yes.
Although I've got a big white dog just there.
You do. If you got another one, you could be
2 big white dogs and call them tigers, and everyone's like, "That ain't no tiger.
No, that's not a tiger.
This is a tiger." Oh no!
I see you playing doggy and tiger before. I do remember when I was saying earlier, I remember thinking this kind of thing doesn't. When I heard about the murder, this doesn't happen to someone who's so known like that. on the other side of the world in Australia, I knew who Oscar Pistorious was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I knew that name. I knew his face. I knew what he looked like.
Yeah.
Before what happened with Reeva.
Yeah.
That's how
that's how famous he was and good at what he did. He also partnered with different labels for various sponsorships.
God, yeah.
He was kind of living a life that he never thought that he would live, and he was achieving his wildest dreams. His mum would be incredibly proud. After the London Olympics, Oscar allegedly got into a big fight with a TV producer and threatened to break his legs.
Oh, fucking hell.
Behind the scenes, Oscar was having issues. Even though he was an inspiration to many, cracks were starting to show. He wasn't just the image of the man smiling for Nike advertisements. Nike or Nike?
I think it actually is Nike.
Is it Nike? Yeah.
That
Call
movie with
away.
the movie, is it Ben Affleck in that movie? Anyway, the recent
Batman?
movie. Yeah, Batman.
Big fan.
I'm pretty sure they say Nike.
Oh. Not in Batman, I don't think they say that. He had anger building and building inside of him. Many have said that he carried a gun wherever he went, and he was very controlling of women. He wanted to collect guns and be a big collector of all armed weapons. Mark Batchelor, a soccer player,
Good name.
who socialised with
Was
Oscar.
he married?
Nice one. Who socialised with Oscar later said that Oscar was quick to become angry and lash out, which caused a lot of problems. He once wanted to fight Matt because he thought his girlfriend was cheating on him with him. In November 2012, Oscar started a relationship with Reeva Steenkamp, a then 29-year-old model. His ex, Samantha Taylor, said that they started dating in 2011 but broke up because he started dating Reeva.
Oh.
There was a track day that Reeva attended with her close friend Samantha. Different Samantha. This is where she met Oscar. Samantha thought he was a great man. He was a great guy and a lot of fun. Oscar was also dating Samantha Taylor at the time, but their relationship was already on the rocks, according to Oscar.
I'm sure it was.
He needed a last-minute date to sports awards ceremony, and he invited Reeva. Don't know why I ran out of breath as I said that sentence. That was interesting.
You're talking about running a lot.
Yeah, that's right. I'm exhausted. I need a break.
You're a real empath.
Yeah, that's right. I'm having a phantom running out of breath, if that's what it is. Their relationship was really public straight away. Reeva told the press that night that she and Oscar were just friends.
Oh.
Oscar made quite the impression on Reeva, but she had some concerns. Reeva was 29 and Oscar was 25.
Oh, come on, grow up. It's 4 years.
But Reeva thought he was quite mature for his age.
25 and 29 is nothing in terms of age difference.
I know. I think just because he was younger, I don't know, there's something,
Oh,
yeah.
come on.
But friends of theirs said that they were preparing for a future together. In January 2013, they were seen on a dance floor of a celebrity friend's party. And that night, everybody spoke about what a great couple they were. They were the talk of the town. At the end of that month, they went for dinner with some friends who said the same thing. They seemed really happy together. At that dinner, Oscar also mentioned that he was wanting to move because he didn't feel safe where he was living. It seemed as though they were talking about, I guess talking about this as if Reeva and him were going to soon move in together.
Right.
From the outside, it looked like they were extremely happy, continually posting photos of each other on social media, looking extremely happy together. In private, however, she described Oscar as overly jealous and overbearing with a very bad temper.
Isn't that always, not always the case, but don't you often hear the people that everyone looks from the outside to be so happy are actually the ones that there are issues going on behind the scenes like that. Now,
G, when I say that they were talking about moving in together and everything, do you know how long they were dating for at this time?
No, but it wasn't long,
It wasn't long, no. I think something that often is forgotten about this case and something that kind of shocked me the more I read into it is that Oscar and Reeva had only been dating for about 4 months.
Oh, God.
When the murder took place.
Really not long.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was kind of maybe around a year or so.
No.
Oh, wow.
This relationship progressed too quickly and Oscar became really controlling.
Yuck.
If Reeva didn't reply to his messages right away, he would send a follow-up message asking what she was doing and often wanted photo evidence of where she was.
Yuck.
Reeva never liked the pressure that he put on her. She wished that he would calm down.
Yeah.
Friends of hers said that he would call several times within a few minutes and would sometimes drive by to check on her.
Yuck, 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 yuck.
His obsessive habits soon led Reeva and her friends to label him as Reeva's stalker.
Oh, Jesus.
With 4 months of them actually dating, he was known to her friends as Reeva's stalker.
No, drop him.
He would also scream and shout at her during arguments.
Yuck. Been there before in relationships.
Yeah, and
yuck.
Also,
yuck.
in fact, he would do this in front of her friends as well. Yeah. Not that that makes it any better or worse.
But it does make you think.
Isn't that insane?
Imagine how
He
much
just wasn't
worse it
scared
may
of doing
be.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not around.
There were obvious concerns, but Reeva would continually make excuses for him and say that he was just tired or he was just overworked. Oscar almost got in trouble in January 2013. So this is all in the same month, really, when he accidentally discharged a gun in a restaurant that just missed his friend.
Hey, whoa.
The bullet landed just centimetres away from one of his friend's feet. Everyone denied knowing what happened when the restaurant manager approached the table and to see, what was going on. The police were not called because no one else came forward. In February 2013, Reeva spoke out on Instagram about a brutal attack that had taken place on a 17-year-old girl. She encouraged her followers to wear black to show their support and love for the victim. The same month, the unthinkable happened. Oscar and Reeva had plans to share Valentine's Day together. On the night of February 13, the day before Valentine's Day, Reeva cooked dinner for Oscar at his home. They had a quiet, romantic night together, according to Oscar. Now, let's first go to Oscar's version of events from his bail application form and testimony from the court. Now, what do you remember about this night? Do you remember much about what happened?
I remember what he said happened, and I remember neighbours saying they heard loud arguing.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's the end of the story.
Okay, thank you so much for bringing us
It's
this
lucky
story
to guess
today.
it.
Leave us a 5-star rating.
Yeah, that's
5-star
right.
review.
He and Reeva had an early night and went to bed around 10 p.m. He'd been given a birthday present for Valentine's. Sorry, birthday present.
What?
My birthday's Valentine's Day. Look it up.
Oh
He'd
my
been
God.
given a.
That's why you're so goddamn cute. Are you Cupid?
I'm Cupid. And you know that Dig's birthday is Valentine's Day as well.
Yeah.
He'd
Can you
been.
look at him right now?
Yeah.
He's lying so
Beautiful
weirdly. He's
boy.
got a beautiful new big bed at Sammy's new house. It's huge, but he's somehow, for some reason, lying like a crossways with his back legs out straight.
He always looks so uncomfortable when he lies down.
He really does.
So he had been given a present for Valentine's Day, but asked not to open it until the next day. He woke up at about 3 a.m. because it was really hot and the air conditioner was broken that night. He woke up because he was feeling really hot and bothered and realised that the balcony door was still open. So the air conditioning wasn't working, like I just said, so there were 2 fans on the balcony to cool the place down into the bedroom. He walked over on his stump, so not putting his prosthetics on. He carried one of the fans, inside, and that's when he heard a noise in the bathroom. He felt pure terror and was extremely vulnerable because he didn't have his prosthetics on at the time, which makes sense. Like that would make sense. There were ladders outside from some contractors working on the house, and he believed it would be very easy for an intruder to climb up and access the bathroom.
And there is a lot of I remember
Yes.
reports from the time, a lot of home invasion crimes were
Yes.
really rampant in Johannesburg at that time.
Absolutely.
In the area where he lived as well.
Yes, and he also spoke about being so scared about where he lived and he wanted to move. Even though there was security at the place, it felt like it was a very unsafe place to live.
There was security there because the crime was so high as well. Well, not because of, but that was part of it as well.
Yeah. He was too scared to turn a light on, so he grabbed a 9mm pistol from under his bed. Now, with the home invasions at the time, it wasn't uncommon for Oscar to sleep with a pistol. He had to walk around to get it from his side, and walking down the hallway on his stumps, he called out to the intruder and also to Reeva to call the police. It was pitch dark in the bedroom, and he believed that Reeva was fast asleep in bed. He said he had sensory deprivation at the time. He had to sleep in complete darkness to get a proper night's sleep.
But the door was open to the balcony. Okay.
The fans were humming loudly and he didn't know exactly what was going on. As he was leaving the bedroom, he told Reeva, who he still believed was in bed at the time, to call the police. When he entered the bathroom, he noticed that the bathroom window was open and the door to the toilet was closed. He assumed that the intruder was barricading themselves in the toilet. He had to protect Reeva and himself, and if the intruder came out, they would be in grave danger. He shouted at the intruder and out to Reeva again to call the police before firing 4 shots. He moved backwards out of the bathroom, continuing to look at the toilet door, and then turned on the lights when he reached the bathroom. He realised that Reeva had not been responding to his calls. Could she have been in the bathroom? She could have walked out quietly in the bedroom and he didn't hear her because of the hum of the fans. And it was also pitch black, as he said. The toilet door was locked. He ran to the window to call for help before rushing to put on his legs and ran back to the bathroom to try and kick the door down. He then went to fetch his cricket bat to bash against the door. He tore through the panel to feel the key on the other side. It fell to the ground and then he unlocked it to reveal Reeva slumped over the toilet but still breathing.
Oh, God.
He dragged her into the bathroom. He went back into the bedside to get his phone. At around 3:19 a.m, he called a neighbour for help. At 3:20 a.m, he called an ambulance.
What?
And at 3:21 a.m, he called the security at his estate.
Would you not call the police first?
Well, that's a big
Ambulance?
question, yeah. Oscar then rushed downstairs and opened the front door. On the phone, the ambulance service had told him to take Reeva to hospital as quickly as he could. In fact, that would be faster.
Oh, God, that's scary.
Yeah.
The ambulance service is saying he can take him
Absolutely.
faster himself. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
He then ran back upstairs and brought Reeva downstairs in his arms. By this point, neighbours and security could hear him yelling. A neighbour that had arrived heard him sobbing and telling them to call the ambulance. One of the first respondents was a doctor, so the doctor was one of the neighbours, by the name of Johann Stipp, sorry if I got that wrong. He performed a jaw lift manoeuvre, which is an attempt to open airways to get her to breathe, but at that time it was of no use. She was pronounced dead at 3:43 a.m.
God, that's a long... She's still at home then?
Yeah. It's a very long time in between, and that is the thing as well. Like if the ambulance was called at that time, it does feel like a long time, but who knows? Like that's such a big space of time, but it could go very quickly in a time like that, I'm sure. Oscar later claimed that the attack was an awful accident. In hindsight, he said that he believed Reeva went to the toilet when he went to bring the fan in, and he didn't notice that she had left. When he discovered that the person he had shot was Reeva, he could feel the blood running down off him. Her arm was broken. She was alive for a short time but was struggling to breathe.
Oh, God.
He tried to use her phone, but it had a passcode. He ran to their bedroom immediately and called his neighbour at 3:19 a.m.
It is very odd not to call an ambulance first.
It is, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if it was because he called the doctor next door. I don't know what the thought was there, maybe. Yeah. He then called the community security officers and then emergency services. So the differing accounts of what calls took place at this point. Neighbours told police that they had seen lights on and heard lots of fighting and a blood-curdling scream. The police did not believe Oscar's story and he was arrested.
Straight away,
pretty much straight away.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oscar was still crying and throwing up at the time. He openly admitted that he shot Reeva, but he thought that she was an intruder. The detective, which I believe is pronounced Hilton Botha, a 24-year veteran of the force, thought that it was a domestic violence case that turned into murder. He didn't think the events made any sense. Oscar had claimed to get the gun from under the bed, but somehow didn't notice that Reeva was no longer there. The detective also found it strange that Oscar would simply hear a sound over the fans and just start firing off his gun, knowing that someone he loves was in the home. Reeva was also wearing white shorts and a black sleeveless top when she died. It didn't look like she was wearing pajamas or comfortable sleeping wear. It looked like maybe she was trying to leave the house when Oscar shot her.
I forgot that detail.
Maybe she was so threatened by him that she wanted to protect herself. Or perhaps they had never gone to bed in the first place and they had been fighting all night. So, what really happened? Well, this is the neighbours' timeline of events. At 1:58 a.m., neighbour Estelle felt irritated by the sounds of an argument through her open window. She had been woken, and while she couldn't hear what the argument was about, she could clearly hear that it was a woman that was doing most of the talking. She put a pillow over her head, but the argument continued for at least about half an hour more. Estelle started dozing off, and then she heard 4 loud bangs. Her husband jerked awake and agreed that they were gunshots. The husband got out of bed and tried to see if he could see anything. He called the estate security to ask what was going on, just as the sound of crying ran out. They looked out as cars pulled up outside Oscar's home. Just after 3 a.m., others nearby were woken up by what they thought were screams of a woman calling for help and also a man shouting. They were convinced they were listening to an armed robbery.
Oh.
They called the security, but it took over a minute to realise that they had called the wrong number.
Oh, God.
At that point, they heard 4 loud bangs. The woman had kept screaming as the shots went off, then silence. The woman said to her husband, "I hope that woman didn't see her husband being shot in front of her."
Oh, God.
Annette Stipp, so that's the partner of Dr. Johan Stipp, woke up at 3:02 a.m. to get a glass of water. She heard gunshots. Her husband heard the screams. He noticed that the lights were on in the bathroom. He and Annette moved to get a better view. He called the police, convinced that a family was being murdered, but the number was out of order.
What? To the police?
Somehow the number was out of order, or it was busy. I don't know. There was something wrong with the service.
God.
Dr. Stipp got dressed quickly to go help whoever was in trouble. He heard 3 loud bangs and shouted to Annette to get away from the window. He heard Oscar's cries for help 3 times. 2 more of the neighbours called estate security. The security guard on duty, Peter Barber, was the shift leader and responsible for coordinating everybody. One of the guards reported he heard gunshots. Peter wanted to check right away. They went first to Dr. Stipp's house, where he pointed directly at Oscar Pistorious' house. The doctor followed the security over. At 3:21 a.m., Oscar called the security, but it didn't go through. A crying Oscar told security, everything is fine.
What?
Oscar later said that he said, security, I am fine. This is conflicting accounts of what he actually said on the phone. He had called his friend, Dr. Johan, at 3:19 a.m. He said, I shot Reeva. I thought she was an intruder. Please come quick.
Yeah, okay. So that kind of goes with what you were saying, that maybe he's called the neighbour first because he knew he was a doctor.
Mm.
And he knows that they can get there faster than an ambulance, I suppose.
Yeah, and there's quite a few people called Johan that come up, and so I am thinking it was the doctor, but I could be wrong.
Don't know.
No one said that.
Hey, we're not journalists.
Hey, well.
The two of us.
Maybe the two of us. Johan and his daughter Clarice headed over to Oscar's house. The security guards were already there. They watched as Oscar carried Reeva down the stairs. Oh. He begged Clarice to get her in the car and get her to hospital. Clarice ordered him to put Reeva down and stop the bleeding. She ran upstairs to get towels to press against the wounds. Oscar was crying, asking Reeva to stay with him. Dr. Stipp checked for a pulse but couldn't find one. There was nothing they could do. He then took notes of the injuries. At this time, it had been 25 minutes since the 4 gunshots had been heard.
And there's still no ambulance.
Still no ambulance.
Oh, that's so awful.
The doctor said it's very bad. Then it took 20 minutes, in fact, for the ambulance to arrive. At 3:50 a.m., the paramedics declared that Reeva Steenkamp was dead. Police arrived at 3:55 a.m. So long. Oscar was anxiously pacing in the kitchen.
I hope that that's an ignorant comment by me, that we are really lucky in Australia that it doesn't in a city.
Yeah. I don't know why it took so. It does feel like a very long time. Yeah. Police followed a trail of blood that led up the hallway into the carpeted bedroom, then down a hallway to the bathroom. They saw the shattered wooden door that led to the toilet. There was a rumpled grey bath mat where they found Reeva's iPhone, Oscar's gun, and a blood-stained cricket bat lying on the floor next to smears of blood.
Oh, he used that to open the door, didn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I don't like the sound of that.
There were 2 windows, a large one on the left and a smaller one inside the cubicle directly above the toilet. The detectives both noted that one of the sliding doors in the windows in the bathroom was open. Outside, police later found that one of Reeva's jeans was lying underneath the window of the toilet.
Huh?
Which doesn't make sense.
Outside?
I'm not sure.
A pair of jeans?
A pair of jeans.
Like she was trying to, like she'd thrown it out there and was trying to...
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that.
Police spent the morning combing through the house while Oscar was told to stay in the garage. Carl, Oscar's brother, soon arrived with his lawyer. The detective said that he knew immediately what he thought had happened. He later told Vanity Fair he shot her. That's it.
I mean, let's maybe not a detective not be speaking to Vanity Fair.
I know, that's a bit, that's a bit strange,
You just hate that sentence.
I know. I was convinced that it was murder. I told my colonel, you already read him his rights, so you have to arrest him. Oscar repeatedly stated that he thought Reeva was a burglar, but they didn't buy it. She had been staying there for a couple of days at that point, and it was just those 2 in the house. So he kind of would have, I guess, gotten used to her being there at that point. The detectives were able to put the story together from witness accounts. Because of this, Oscar was arrested, but they took him to hospital first. They were looking for anything that could disprove his own account. They tested his blood and urine to see if there were drugs or that he consumed alcohol. They came back clean. They then looked under his fingernails but found nothing. He spent the night in jail. On the 15th of February 2012, Oscar was formally charged with murder in court. The judge ordered Oscar to remain in custody. Sorry, hold on a second. Do you want some more wine or anything? No, thanks. On the 15th of February 2013, Oscar was formally charged with murder. The judge ordered Oscar to remain in custody until his bail hearing, which would take place 4 days later. Detectives began interviewing people who knew Oscar. There was a lot more to him than he originally let on. One of the biggest things that came out was the shooting in the restaurant in 2013 and also the boating incident in 2009. He started going too fast and lost control, crashing into a pier. While his friend was okay, Oscar did have to be airlifted to hospital. Oh. He had to be put into a medically induced coma.
Oh, God.
3 days later, he had 180 stitches and his jaw was wired shut.
What?
He was also said to have been consuming alcohol while driving. A year later, he was driving around with friends and pulled over for speeding. He allegedly pulled out his gun so mad and fired at a traffic sign as police left.
Oh, my God.
They also spoke to Oscar's ex, Samantha Taylor. He had a lot of ex-girlfriends and he would go all in every time. He would be overly romantic and love bomb them. The pendulum swung back hard in the other direction.
Yuck.
Oscar and Samantha dated for about 18 months, starting in 2010, when Oscar was 24 years old and Samantha was just 17 years old.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. Samantha said that Oscar was really sweet at first, calling her his little butterfly and the love of his life, but then he would get extremely jealous and controlling. He would text her constantly and ask for photo proof to prove where she was.
Yuck.
He would just fly off his handle at anything small. He would fly off his handle in front of her friends, and then, of course, everything would go back to normal. I wrote fly off his handle way too many times in a paragraph.
At least once too many.
On the 19th of February 2013, he went in for his bail hearing and pled not guilty to all charges. The lead detective, Hilton, argued that Oscar had been wearing his prosthetics when he shot Reeva, that it was premeditated. He had time to think about what he was doing. He pointed at the door to argue that the height of the bullet holes, I don't know what happened there, bullet holes.
I don't think I could even do that if I wanted to.
The height of the bullet holes and the trajectory proved that he was wearing his prosthetics at the time.
I forgot that part of wow.
Oscar's lawyers pushed back on this claim, as well as an expert who analysed the door. They concluded that he was not using prosthetics. Because of this...
God, it's hard when they can bring in their own experts, isn't it?
And experts on experts. They can be experts for anything.
I think we've spoken about this before on the pod, that on the PCast, that in Australia you've got, like, if there's an expert in something, it has to be agreed by the prosecution and the defence, I believe. It seems like, certainly in American cases we've spoken about, you can have a defence, the defence can call a witness and then the prosecution can call a witness for an expert for exactly the same thing that have conflicting arguments. It just is, that's when a trial is just who can win this argument.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Fact.
Yeah. So many different experts coming in. Because of this, Hilton was taken off the case.
Because of saying
the
wrong thing.
Yeah.
Far out. Oh, yeah.
On February 22nd, a judge granted Oscar bail on the condition that he surrendered his passport. This proved to be an incredibly controversial decision.
Of course. There's no one else getting bail for murder
No, I
charges.
know. The public perception soon changed about Oscar. People turned on him. Once a hero, there were whispers of not only premeditated murder, but domestic violence too. More information was coming out that proved that Oscar had violent tendencies. A majority of the public now believed he was guilty. The prosecutors gathered more information for their case. There was going to be 3 new charges involving violations with gun laws in South Africa. Although there seemed like small details, the prosecution wanted to make the trial more about Oscar's past behaviour. They could then call in Samantha Taylor to testify. The defence, of course, argued that this was mere character assassination and this behaviour did not make him a killer.
That wouldn't be allowed in Australia from my understanding, no. If it's a murder charge, if there's 3 guns charges as well, unless it's in the exact same incident, they would be a separate trial.
Yeah. Well, that happened with the Aaron Patterson thing, didn't it? They couldn't bring in past
murder charges from past,
Yeah. In October 2013, 8 months after the shooting, the prosecution finally got access to Reeva's WhatsApp and archived WhatsApp messages. A lot of the messages were fairly normal with a loving tone, but there were darker tones as well.
Yuck.
Oscar had previously flipped out at a friend's engagement party. They had a big fight over WhatsApp after this. She said, "I'm scared of you sometimes and how you snap at me and how you react to me. You have to remember how long they've been dating at this time and that she was this terrified of him."
Oh, Reeva, I wish you'd left him.
I know. "I just want to love and be loved," Reeva wrote in one message. The messages lined up with what Samantha had told them previously about his behaviour. He would flip back and forth. A year after the shooting, the trial finally began in 2014. South Africa does not have jury trials.
Oh, wow, at all?
No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the judge had to have 2 assessors to assist her with the case. So sorry if I pronounce this wrong. The judge was Tokezila Masipa. She was one of the first black women to be appointed as a high court judge after the fall of apartheid.
Far out. And I mean, we're talking 2013. We're not talking
I know.
any earlier. Wow.
Yeah. She was now covering one of the biggest trials, at least public trials, in South African history.
Certainly.
On March 3rd, the prosecutor, she was appointed in like the 90s. But she was, but she was.
I mean, God, still, that I know. The first black woman to be, that is still so late. Yeah, wow.
On March 3rd, the prosecutor presented the government's case that he had a violent temper and would often take his anger out on his partners. They could prove that he treated Reeva similar to the way he treated Samantha. They proposed that Oscar had most likely erupted that night into a violent rage. The argument ended with Reeva slamming the door shut. Then the neighbours were called upon to talk about the argument they had heard that night. Oscar was a wreck in the courtroom, so much so that he ended up throwing up quite a lot.
Yeah, I remember that detail.
Yeah, and he had a garbage bin next to him, if you remember that as well, because he kept throwing up.
Oh, God, that's awful.
They also had evidence the bathroom door was brought in. They carefully reconstructed the pieces that Oscar had demolished with the cricket bat. A pathologist was brought in who said that Reeva's bladder only had a few millimetres of urine in it, so she had relieved herself shortly before being shot, and that she had eaten 2 to 4 hours before her death, not 8 hours like Oscar had claimed.
There is so much, just violation of small human privacies when there's some kind of crime like this. Why should we, on the other side of the world, what is it, 12 years later, know that she had a few millimetres of urine in her bladder? It is the smallest part of this horrendous thing that has happened to her, but it just feels like a yucky thing to, when crimes like this happen, we just find out so many details about people that are just so, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to say. It just feels yuck to know that, about someone in their last moments.
I don't know what they were trying to prove there, if it was like...
Or that she'd gone to the bathroom willingly to wee rather than locked herself in there, I suppose.
Yeah.
That seems to me like what they were proving. Well, she had just gone in there. She wasn't hiding in there from him because they were having a big fight. If she was, she wouldn't have peed. Yeah,
sure. The prosecution now agreed that Oscar was not wearing prosthetics. Oscar had fired 4 shots, hitting her in the hip, the head, the arm, but the 4th shot had actually missed. The first shot had hit her in the hip, so she did have time to scream out in pain. So he had kept shooting after he heard Reeva scream out. So why didn't he stop?
And you would, I don't know if this is an ignorant thing to say, but if you heard a woman scream...
You would recognise the voice, you would think, as well.
And if you think it was a burglar, maybe you would be more likely expecting a male.
Yeah, exactly. The defence argued that there would be no way to know exactly which bullets were fired first, and also that his ears would have been ringing from the sound that he wouldn't have even heard Reeva regardless.
I mean, I've thankfully, touch wood, never been around a gunshot that close to know if that's true or not.
The prosecutors argued that Oscar and Reeva had been in a heated argument that night, and that's why she actually locked herself in the bathroom. A neighbour stated that she had heard a blood-curdling scream during the night. She heard a man yelling for a few times for help, she heard a man yelling a few times, and then heard 1 gunshot followed by 3 more quick gunshots.
Oh.
A woman screamed, a man yelled for 3 more times for help, then 4 gunshots are heard.
Oh.
The defence tried to say that the woman's voice heard was actually Oscar's.
Oh, it's a bit Ned Flanders.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That it was raised because of his anxiety, but the witness continually said that 2 voices were heard that night,
different.
and that it was not Oscar's voice. Yeah. The defence claimed that the shots they heard were actually the sound of the bat hitting the door to break it down. The defence argued that 90% of the WhatsApp messages were loving. But I guess that's what love bombing is,
90% isn't that much.
No,
exactly. If there's 10% that are anything but that,
really dark.
Ugh.
The defence also cross-examined the witness, adding a seed of doubt that perhaps it wasn't even Oscar's voice shouting that night. Another big question was, why did Oscar believe that the intruder was in the toilet? Were they barricading themselves in the toilet because they were supposedly scared of Oscar? On April 7th, 2014, Oscar himself took the stand. He was cross-examined and did not show any sympathy for the first 5 days. The prosecution demanded he take responsibility, and he did at this point, crying through his testimony, but argued that it was all a mistake. The judge repeatedly chastised how argumentative the prosecution was. Oscar apologised to Reeva's family, saying there hasn't been a moment that he hadn't thought of the family. He said he couldn't imagine the pain and sorrow they'd experienced because of him.
He may not have ever even met them if they've only been dating
No,
for
I
4
know.
months.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah. He said he had tried to protect Reeva that night and that when he went to bed that night, she felt loved. In his original statement, Oscar said that he heard a noise in the bathroom, but later said it was the sound of the window opening and closing that made him shoot at the door.
Oh.
He said he was on medication at the time and was traumatised. This could explain the discrepancies in his memory. Oscar denied that he and Reeva were arguing. Oscar was asked by his lawyer to read a Valentine's card written by Reeva that said, "I think today is a good day to tell you that I love you."
Oh my God.
Rita had been killed before they could open up their gifts together, and he had already chosen a bracelet for her he was going to give her as a surprise that day. He also said that he couldn't say anything when he woke up, but he later said he saw the duvet over Reeva's legs when he went to get the fan. The prosecutor said that it was inconceivable that Oscar would not have spoken to Reeva if he believed there was an intruder in the bathroom.
I disagree with that.
You do? Yeah.
But what I also am going to bring up as a discrepancy is that he said it was pitch black and he couldn't see anything. So why is he now saying he could see his legs under the duvet?
Yeah, and there was something about an LED light as well that was flickering, and he put something over it to cover it and everything. And it was like, so there was some light in the room?
Well, I just think naturally there's going to be,
If
he's
the
saying the doors
yeah.
are open, there'd be some light. Your eyes, like the only time it is pitch black is if you go from light to sudden darkness.
Yes,
Or
yeah.
if you've got something covering your eyes.
Yeah, like a beautiful Shrek mask that I have.
You do have a
Beautiful
Shrek
Shrek
eye
eye mask. He said that Oscar must have made up a story about a conversation later on because it wasn't made in the bail application. So he thought,
Like saying
adding
of like,
lots of
oh,
things.
Rita, there's someone in here. Blah,
Yes,
blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah, yeah. Or he
Sorry,
spoke to her or something, and said that she did wake. She said at some point, "Are you hot, Bubba?" or something like that to him that night when he woke up. So there was a conversation at some point, but who knows, really?
Yeah, I disagree with as in I question whether it would be a given that if you think you heard a noise outside that you'd wake up your girlfriend.
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
if he is this kind of, masculine, protective person.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. I don't know if that's a gender stereotype there. Well, it is a gender stereotype, but I don't think it is a given that 100% of humans, if they hear something in the
that's
night, are going to say, "Did you hear that?" Rah,
Yeah,
rah.
yeah.
What I disagree with, though, is that if you're going to start shooting your gun, you're not going to call out to check that
No.
Reeva is not in bed.
No, that's right.
That's very
yeah.
different.
Finally, the prosecutor noted that Oscar deactivated his alarm after the shooting. Oscar's lawyer argued that his disability led to a heightened fight response that led him to confront danger. Did Oscar also have, this is the weirdest bit about the case, did Oscar also have a secret 9-minute conversation shortly before he killed Reeva?
Hang
Do you remember
on.
this?
Oh, it's ringing a bell, but no, I don't remember. No, but
Well, a new book claimed that he made a private phone call to an ex-girlfriend before he killed Reeva. The conversation was not included in the trial because police were allegedly unaware that it existed.
well, I'm sorry. You would think, or at least hope, good police work would look at his phone records at the very least.
Well, apparently his phone was wiped. He also had 2 phones, and one of them was not surrendered right away.
Aha, that's giving Erin Patterson as well.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. The number was saved as baby shoes. Oscar's phone
Baby
was...
shoes?
Baby shoes, apparently.
Ew.
Oscar's phone was not handed over for quite some time. By the time the phone had been handed in, its entire call history had allegedly been wiped. The ex-girlfriend was never questioned by police and therefore did not provide a statement.
So when did this come out in a book?
Apparently in a recent book it came out as someone's been kind of digging a little bit further. During the trial, Oscar's mental health was a big part of the case. She was a psychiatrist who had recently evaluated his mental health. Sorry.
She was just
she was
the
just
cat's
she.
mother.
No, yeah.
Did she have a cat, I wonder?
No, it was, sorry. There was a psychiatrist that was brought in to talk about Oscar's mental health. The prosecution argued that a lot of people suffer from anxiety, so they were saying he had a general anxiety, and that did not mean that he would kill someone or fire his gun out of a car. So, that his anger when he shot out of the window, like that would not lead someone from anxiety to do that. So an independent team of psychiatrists, not on Oscar's payroll, were to evaluate him. The trial went on hold for 30 days. Then the trial resumed. The judge reviewed findings. They found that Oscar did not have clinically significant generalized anxiety disorder. They did find, though, it didn't fit the psychological profile of someone who would commit domestic violence.
Okay. Somewhere in between both things they're saying.
Yeah, he didn't show signs of narcissism or abnormal physical aggression. They did say that he lived in fear of being the victim of a violent crime, and he did feel vulnerable because of his disability. For a month leading up to the killing, he did fire off his gun, which apparently he always did, in the house a few times.
What do you mean he always
Well, apparently
did?
he always carried a gun. So his friends were like, yeah, he just always carried a gun and was fearful
Carrying
of a
one
violent attack.
always is one thing, which I disagree with, but that is one thing. Always firing it off in the house is another.
Well, when he heard a noise in the kitchen, he went into full combat mode, ready to fight, but later realised after firing it was a washing machine.
Oh, my God.
He went to sleep on the couch once and heard a gunshot on the TV, which woke him up, and he ran away in fear.
Oh, that's awful.
This
I
fear...
don't care who you are, that's a yucky.
I know.
That's what a horrible
It's a
thing
horrible
to think.
feeling. This fear began when he was a child. His mother had a fear of home invasions, often calling the police if they heard a noise in the house, and she would actually get Oscar and hide in the cupboard with him. His mum also slept with a gun under her pillow.
Oh, God. There are
There's
so
something
many...
going on there.
Yeah, but also they grew up in Cape Town, I believe. You said it. There's
Yes.
a lot of home invasions.
Absolutely,
That's very a rampant crime.
The defense demonstrated how vulnerable Oscar was without his prosthetics by getting him to move around the courtroom without them.
I remember seeing that.
Everyone remembers this part of the case. So everyone could see he's not as fast, he's a little wobbly, and it's hard for him to move around without them. He was way more of a target. The judge commended him for being brave enough to do that in the courtroom. Once all the evidence had been laid out, it was time for the judge to make her verdict on September 11th. Her prepared remarks were 72 pages long. She found Oscar not guilty of murder. She dismissed the WhatsApp messages and whether or not the neighbours heard Oscar screaming and what was heard between the neighbours that night.
Just dismissed that.
Just dismissed it. It was unreliable. She did find Oscar guilty of culpable homicide, which is pretty much the equivalent of manslaughter.
Well, it's what he admitted to.
Yeah. She ruled that while Oscar didn't intend to kill Reeva, he had been reckless with his firearm, which led to her death. She also ruled one additional weapons charge for the incident in the restaurant. Right. He was sentenced to 8 years in jail, 5 years for accidentally shooting Reeva, and a concurrent suspended 3-year sentence for the weapons charge.
Wait, only 5
years
yeah. for shooting
the death
her?
of Reeva. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
He began serving that on the 21st of October 2014. But after less than a year, he was allowed to serve the rest under house arrest. That was a very unpopular verdict at the time.
Oh, yes.
Trevor Noah, a South African comedian, tweeted, OJ Pistorious.
Oh.
He was very vocal about his feelings on the case. The judge's verdict was so controversial that that she herself began to receive death threats, and officers had to be stationed outside of her house.
Fuck.
In 2015, the Supreme Court reviewed the sentencing and ruled that it was too light. They found Oscar guilty of murder and increased his sentence to 13 years and 8 months.
Okay, my mind is just is a mess.
Yes.
How can you change the verdict, first of all, to a charge that didn't exist, that he was found not guilty of in the first place? How can you say it's murder and then go, so it's only another 7 years?
And then he was sent back to prison.
6 years. 6 years. Here's my math.
Yeah. No, but it seems so light.
So another 13 years on top of the 5. But even that
I think
is
it was
not
actually
a murder
yeah.
sentence.
I don't know if that was on top of or if that was actually
Either way.
Yeah.
Be it 18 or 13, that's not a murder sentence.
No. He was released on parole in January 2024 after serving only 9 years of his sentence.
Even if it is manslaughter, that's a really short sentence.
So
for
short.
manslaughter.
His release was strategically planned to avoid media attention while leaving the correctional centre, and he's remained under the radar ever since. He lives with his uncle, Arnold Pistorious, having sold the house where he killed Steenkamp in order to pay legal bills. According to a press release by the Department of Correctional Services, there are restrictions on when he can leave his home, and he is not allowed to leave the district without permission.
Yeah, he's still on parole.
Yeah. Oscar is now allegedly competing in triathlons.
Well, it can't be
Was it okay? So you have to leave the
that
house for
obviously, exactly. If no one knows where he is.
He has a new girlfriend who looks very similar to Reeva.
I do remember reading that. Yeah,
and seems to be living a fairly good life. In 2025, at the time of recording, he is just 38 years old, about to turn 39 in November.
Oh my God.
He's so young still.
Far out.
Reeva's mum has spoken out on multiple occasions, saying that she is very sad and has issued her own warning to his new girlfriend.
Yeah, this is what I remember hearing about. Oh, yucky.
She shared that he was meant to be having anger management classes. She found out that he wasn't attending them and went to the parole board to tell them.
Wow.
Reeva Steenkamp's mother told the hosts of the British television program This Morning that she had forgiven Pistorious during his trial. They founded the Reeva Steenkamp Foundation to raise awareness about domestic violence and provide support for survivors. In the speech Reeva was due to give, she wanted to emphasise placing value on you. Her speech, which was meant to give on the Valentine's Day morning that she was killed, was meant to end with this. And I think it would be good to end on this today. Be brave. Always see the positive. Go home and tell your parents, siblings, neighbours that they are appreciated. You would go to bed with a happy heart and an open mind for the future. And that, G, is sadly the story of Reeva Steenkamp, someone that did not get to have that future, and the story of Oscar Pistorious.
Thank you for saying that's the story of Reeva Steenkamp, because it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's the victim in this. No matter what you think happened, no matter what the reality of what happened, which we may never really know.
Yeah.
This young woman, almost feel like saying girl, who had so much life ahead of her and seems to have so much good in her, was killed. That's that.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's just horrible. I cannot imagine for her family the circus that case became. We are on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And I remember literally where I was when I read about this in the paper. I remember where I was.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones like it is sadly very common, I think, for people to forget about Reeva in this, in terms of forgetting, that she's a person whose
Yeah.
life was taken.
Yep.
In, you know, people debating, did he do it on purpose? Didn't he?
I think it's very similar to OJ in that way. You know, you think about Ron
Very
Goldman
much.
and you know, like in you know, you
Very
go,
much.
oh yeah, like it's not really a
Yeah,
thing
it
that
shouldn't be
people-
the O.J. Simpson case. It should be the Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman case. The same with this. This is the Reeva Steenkamp case.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's one of those ones that I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't think we will ever know what truly happened, or sorry, ever be confident in knowing outside of the two of them what really happened, because there are so many little bits from each side of it that seem to check out. No 100% side of either of it I feel like I can be confident in. It's not my place to be so, but you know, he shot and killed her.
Yep.
That's what happened. He did spend years behind bars for that. I personally don't believe anywhere near long enough, even if it was quote unquote accidental in that he didn't know who was there. He has purposely shot at somebody through a door.
Yeah.
That to me warrants longer than 9 years behind bars.
And also, like, you know, I think the discourse around, you know, what happened and everything there. I remember they had all these billboards of him, you know, all around, and they were ripped down so quickly as well. Like it turned very quickly, I think, the feeling around
I'm
around
glad that it did, because can you imagine us sitting here and saying, you know, people said because he was a white man and he was an athlete and he was popular and was rich and had sponsorships, he couldn't have done it? No, that shouldn't be the discourse at all.
No.
And maybe that is a lot of people's unconscious bias in thinking, you know, did he really?
Yeah.
You know, if this was a black man in South Africa, it would be spoken about so differently. If this was a poor person in anywhere in the world, it would be spoken about so differently. Are we only thinking, did he mean to though?
Yeah.
Because he's a rich white man with a successful career.
Yeah, and I think there are parts of it that you're like, you know, his career and everything, undeniable that he was an incredible athlete. Like, and also like, he would have felt vulnerable without his prosthetics on. Of course, there are parts of it that you go,
That's what I mean.
understand that, I get
so many
that.
Parts
There's
of
parts,
of both sides that I go, well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course he would have felt vulnerable.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how vulnerable he would have felt because I'm not in his position. But I also go, of course I would have checked if my partner was in the bed before I start shooting a gun.
Yeah.
Of course I would have thought, if the toilet door is locked
And there's two people in the house.
Yep. Why would an intruder have locked themselves in the toilet?
Yeah.
Of course, I look at it and go, well, if she's locked herself in the toilet, she hasn't just woken up to go to the loo during the night while he's bringing the fan in. If it was that, she would have said, "Oh, babe, don't want to give you a fright. I'm just going to the loo."
Yeah.
You know, if she was in there, the jeans outside the window is a massive thing for me. Multiple neighbours saying they heard them fighting and that they heard
A blood-curdling scream, as I said, and then whether, and there was also something about, and I didn't put it in here, but like there was people saying, the 4 bangs could have been the bat. And it was
you
like,
did say that.
Yeah, and it's like, well, there was
but there were shots
different
fired.
information about that. It's like, but you can't argue that 4 shots were fired.
Yes.
That happened.
Therefore, bullets out of the gun. And
So whether or not the bat was a different part or people woke up at different parts in the neighbourhood, you know, around the estate and went, I heard the bat. Whatever you heard, you can't deny that there were 4 gunshots.
And then you look again at the you know, how distraught he was at the time. You can look at that and go, well, is that a sign that, you know, he didn't realise that he'd shot her until he did realise, and then that was the reaction. You could look at it and go, well, he's in the moment been angry at her and shot at her, and so of course he's upset about that now because he realises he's going down for it. There are so many in my own mind. I'm finding points of it that I go, well, of course that makes sense, and they're points to different sides of it. It's just, it's one of those frustrating ones in that you're welcome. In that I don't think we'll ever be able to be sure of exactly what happened. It is such a horrible, senseless waste of life.
It's heartbreaking.
Whether it was premeditated murder or it was manslaughter, I don't remember the term used in
culpable homicide. Yeah.
Either way, it is a horrible, unfair waste of life.
Yep.
And I cannot understand how that the person responsible is out of jail.
I know. After what seems like such a short amount of time.
Or it's only 12 years ago that it happened.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to be right back after a short break, and we're going to come back with mailbag.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.